Taking stock of the Social Employment Fund projects in the city of Johannesburg, the Industrial Development Corporation tasked with administering the 800 million rand fund says the demand for the fund is huge. The IDC can only fund 35 projects in the new round, and so far over 200 applications have been received. Applicants for the funding include community development organizations and NGOs. Role players say this is testament that there's a need to turn the fund into policy, as it has proven to be a vehicle towards the creation of well-needed jobs.
I think what we've seen in this inception period, if you like, over the last 2 years is the enormous potential of this approach. In fact, the number of applicants who qualified for the fund in its very first round of applications could have created 300,000 jobs instead of the 50,000 that were funded. I think what we have here is a really strong proof of concept for an approach that we can take to greater scale to address the challenge of unemployment at community level in communities where it's felt the most. So really the policy challenge is how can we amplify and support.
In its pilot round, the Social Employment Fund was aimed at creating jobs in sectors as diverse as education, the agricultural sector and infrastructure development. The IDC says there's been a tangible impact in various communities.
Via the CEF, we've been able to create 50,000 temporary work opportunities for individuals throughout the country, and in this way we are contributing to a massive issue that that our economy faces. The second part that we are looking at beyond employment, we have a raft of wicked problems within society, whether it's health, gender-based violence, access to nutrition, education, alien vegetation in communities. So how does one find innovative ways of solving these problems and getting community members to solve these themselves?
But some that have already benefited from the fund say their projects are not yet sustainable. They want to be considered once again in the new financial year.
So when we started here, this wasn't a safe space to work around, because most of the time you could come here and the kids were getting robbed outside the theaters and all that. So we were having a lot of activities that were happening around here. But currently now, since we started teaching, because we're dealing with kids, so you don't find kids just going around the theaters and all that. We have opened projects for them whereby they feel safe now. From school they come straight here. We've got transport that collects them, so it's much safer for them.
I think there's no doubt that there's a need for a project like the Social Employment Fund to continue. Our organization currently employs 2,622 women as part of the Social Employment Fund, but the reach that these women have been able to have is over 25,000 survivors of gender-based violence that have been assisted in the last 11 months.
Participants are coming 4 or 5 times a week, so then that money is actually getting bigger and bigger, so they're able to actually take something home and they're able to support their families with that money. So I think when the program started, it was on minimum wage, which was like 22 rand, 23 rand 19 cents, and now we're looking at like 25 rand and 35 cents per hour for the participants that come here and spend 8 hours a day.
The fund has also seen cleanup projects, jobs created and tourism drives rolled out in the Johannesburg CBD. This is something that has given tourists and locals some safety comfort.
It's changed a lot from what I heard and what I've seen. Before coming here, all I would hear was it's dangerous, you have to be very careful, you cannot go here, you cannot go there. And even when I arrived, the first times I came to Johannesburg, I would hear people telling me, don't go there, don't go there. For example, where we are right now in the CBD, it's too dangerous, there is nothing interesting for you to see there, so just don't go there. What I see though, it's a very different story.
Beneficiaries of the Social Employment Fund are now looking to lawmakers to ensure the fund forms part of policy going forward. A bidding for companies to form part of the new round of the fund has now closed, with the process now moving to Parliament. The Industrial Development Corporation saying the 50,000 jobs created mark, this being in the 2 years, was overseeded as they call for boosted funding beyond the 800 million rand that they believe will create much needed jobs, help address social ills and work to strengthen the local economy. Katlego Logodi, SABC News, Johannesburg.